Welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Good morning. We'll give it a second here so we can make sure all of our Facebook groups join in. They're on their way here. And it looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beckoning the Broncos. I'm your host, Kim Becker. Happy Wednesday. Happy June 22nd if you're listening live. Happy whatever day it may be if you are listening to the replay. This is the time, people. This is the time that we say, oh my goodness, it's literally really the off season now, right? Because the Denver Broncos have gone on summer vacation after their last day of mini camp last week that I know some people did not agree with the second half of the day being field day. We'll get to that in a little bit. I know you guys have already heard our other guys over at Mile High Huddle talk about it, but I have my own opinions, so I'll share those a little bit once we get going, but wanted to welcome everybody in here, say good morning. Hope you are all doing fabulous on what is now the second day of summer. If you're listening live, hopefully everybody had a good first day of summer. The summer solstice was June 21st yesterday, if you're in the States here, longest day of the year when it comes to sunlight. So hope everybody got to experience that, take advantage of it a little bit. So good morning. I see some of our regular loyal guys in here, which I love to see. The DWI guys, Jeremy, Dale, Michael, some of our favorites. So welcome in here to Beckoning the Broncos. Again, I'm Kim Becker. Can't wait to have you guys here and have you interact with me now, especially as we really get going into this off season with less and less news and updates when it comes to the Denver Broncos. So we're still going to find things to talk about. Don't you worry about that. And we'll start off with that first little topic I just mentioned. So last week, obviously, was their last day of mini camp. I believe it was last Wednesday because we were talking about how that last day of mini camp, how that last day of practice was going to go the last time I was on here. And then Coach Hackett canceled the second half of the day for field day. That's a Denver Broncos tradition. I don't see anything wrong with that. I know some people do, but hey, my kind of take on all of that was if they miss a 1 hour and 15-minute practice and that hurts them, we are in much worse shape than we should be. At the end of the day, an hour and 15-minute practice that really probably would have been more of a no contact, probably not even pads really, because they don't want to risk injury at that point, more of a walkthrough. I just don't see that being detrimental to what's going to happen in the fall. And if it is that detrimental, if people are really that passionate about how bad of a decision that was, then they're not looking into everything here because chemistry and bonding and all of that on the field is very important when it comes to figuring out what's going to work on the field, figuring out how the quarterback works with the offense, figuring out how their teammates think when they go into a play that might not go the way they assumed it was going to go. So I think that was really important. I didn't see a problem with that. I see you guys kind of agreeing with me. I love field days, of course. Well, and that's just another aspect, right? We love field days. Dale coming in here, the reporters who felt inconvenienced by the team putting the players' well-being first. Exactly. And I mean, I can't, toot that horn too loud because I am also a reporter, but at the end of the day, their well-being and the chemistry of this team is far more important than just getting clicks or throwing out an opinion just to say it, just to disagree with people or whatever it may be. So I totally agree with you guys. I think that was ridiculous. At the end of the day, I mean, these guys have 5 weeks now before we get to July 27th, that first day of training camp. And that 1 hour and 15 minutes is not going to set them back any further. And again, like I said, if it does, then we have other problems on our hands. That 1 hour, 15-minute practice is definitely not going to be our main issue. So appreciate you guys agreeing with me there. I see some people popping in here. Appreciate you joining me here at Beckoning the Broncos this Wednesday morning. My name is Kim Becker, for those of you joining us now. A lot that I feel like media now is just going to speculate on a lot of different things, right? We're going to see some crazy lists going up. We're going to see some crazy rankings going up. A lot of it is just us media scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to find something to talk about. But what I love so much about this group here at Mile High Huddle is how you guys interact and you guys have your own opinions and you guys follow every single pod so closely that I feel like you guys know more than any other fan base, specifically to the Denver Broncos and a Mile High Huddle. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Gary, good morning. Kim, go Broncos. Let's ride. Yes, let's ride. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I just still think about that video of Russell Wilson that they put up back behind the scenes of Media Day saying, let's ride. I didn't find any issue with it. People just take things, gosh, and they just roll everything over with this huge, like, garbage truck. It's crazy. People find the negatives in everything these days. It's so sad. So it's fun having you guys here. I know you're always so positive, and I see you guys still talking about the field day events. I say we do a Mile High Huddle field day. Jeremy coming in with that. I'm down. I agree. I mean, this is prime time in Denver right now, right? Summertime in Denver. You can't beat it. So, yeah, I bet we could put that together. One of the meet and greets, right? Maybe over in London. Who knows? When the Denver Broncos take over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not a bad idea, hey? Team bonding. I see you guys talking about that too. Definitely go a long way for the future. I think something that we all not necessarily forget about, but we don't think about often is how much the coaches also need to build chemistry with one another. I mean, you can't have any turmoil on the sidelines between your offensive coordinator and your quarterback's coach, or your head coach and your defensive coordinator. Really, the combinations are endless when it comes to what happens out on the gridiron. So I think that's very important too, is having the coaches bond. I'm sure they do some things on their own, but I have seen from firsthand experience how much football coaches work, and they don't have a lot of free time to do that on their own time. So I'm sure the coaches really appreciated that as well. They really need time to bond with one another, not just the players, but other coaches also. Mark can't stay today, but appreciate you and want to support you, Kim. Mark Schrader, thank you so much. Thank you so much for even popping in here and letting me know you can't stay. We will miss you for the remainder of this. Hopefully you can catch the replay. But again, appreciate you so much. Appreciate your support. Love talking to you guys as always. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day, Mark. But yes, so it is very important for the coaches also to build that chemistry with one another, because they have to be on the same page, really probably more so than the players and the coaches do. I mean, of course, the players and the coaches do to a very, very large extent. But you need to make sure that these coaches know how to coach with each other. They all have different styles. We have seen that thus far in mini camp with the style that Nathaniel Hackett has versus Coach EJ Evero, right? We know that those are very just different personalities, but also coaching styles. If you guys caught the Broncos broadcast, Broncos Country Connected on denverbroncos.com yesterday, Nathaniel Hackett was sitting down with Steve Atwater, and he was talking about how this is a brand new offensive scheme for the Denver Broncos, and it's also a new defensive scheme for the Denver Broncos, and one that a lot of NFL teams are using, and it makes it really hard. The defensive scheme makes it really hard for the new style of offense that Nathaniel Hackett is implementing here in Denver, which is a challenge for them, of course, but it's a good challenge because they can go against one another, kind of try and figure out what each other is going to do before that actually happens. Nathaniel Hackett then went on to talk about his new offensive scheme or the outside zone offense that he's bringing here from Green Bay, and how it kind of works so well with Aaron Rodgers and with the Packers because it creates sideline to sideline coverage when it comes to the defense. And they've got to make sure that they cover that edge when the offense is putting in that whole outside zone. And he said it just creates longer runs. It doesn't just give you the 2-yard, 4-yard runs. It can create 8-yard, 10-yard, 12-yard, because you have to have the defense covering sideline to sideline, and that may create a hole where there might not normally be a hole for the running back, and they can just pop right through there and get some more yardage. So really important offensive scheme being implemented here, and obviously he can't tell us everything, right? That's just the very generic definition of this outside zone offense that he is implementing here. But to think about all of the intricacies that go into that and all of the details for the offense and the defense to understand that is super important. But these are all very different. And so you have to make sure that the coaches have time to bond and have time to figure out their playbook and what they're going to do against one another and on the same side of the ball with one another. So again, that was kind of a tangent on field day, but that's where we landed. So I see some new faces popping in here. Appreciate you guys as always. Welcome to Beckoning the Broncos here at Mile High Huddle. Lauren, defense regress under former defensive assistant Evero Broncos 6-11 record. Yeah, no, that's not great. Under former defensive assistant Evero. Okay, so I didn't know much about that. Are you saying that under his assistant or where he was previously at the Rams? We'll see. I mean, again, you've got to have this different offensive style going against Evero's defensive style to see what happens. But again, Nathaniel Hackett did say there's a lot of NFL teams that are implementing that. It's kind of going across the league. And that's what's so crazy about football when you think about it, is how much it's evolved over the years and how much it's going to continue to evolve. I mean, really, the whole ceiling of where this league can develop into and what can happen, different styles, different schemes, different, figuring each other out, especially with all the movement of the coaches, right? And when one coach is at one team and they go to another one, and then they have to take that into effect when they're doing game prep and film study to go play that opponent. I mean, it's just insane. The ceiling is so high when it comes to the development and growth of these teams and of this coaching aspect. I can't imagine being a football coach and having to keep up with all of that. I mean, no wonder they work literally 24 hours a day because they have to be able to keep up with the way that this is all rolling. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that all pans out. But training camp is 5 weeks away. Nathaniel Hackett also mentioned that we have so much time before that. And I don't know about you guys, but I think I started this podcast 5 weeks ago and I feel like it's flown by. So for him to say that 5 weeks is a long time, I was like, whoa, buddy, I don't think it's that long before we get into training camp. Obviously, you guys saw the training camp schedule starts on July 27th, ends on August 11th. All 14 practices are open to the public, which I think if you are in Denver, please go. It will be a phenomenal time to see the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson out in that jersey for sure. But 14 practices, if you think about it, before that first preseason game on August 13th against the Dallas Cowboys. And that last 14th practice is a joint practice with the Dallas Cowboys on August 11th. Doesn't seem like that long. It's a lot of practices, but it doesn't seem like that long, I guess is what I'm saying. So for him to say, oh, we've still got time to implement it, we definitely do. But 5 weeks, this 5-week offseason is going to fly by. So yeah, no, I don't think that it's going to be that long when it comes to actual sense of us understanding and comprehending time, because again, it's just flying by. June 22nd. Again, so crazy. But I see you guys. Oh, okay. So you were talking about, the Broncos last year, 6-11. I gotcha with the defense there. Lauren sounds like a Chiefs fan. Yeah. Hey, I know that was another list, right? That, we saw it was Adam Rank on NFL Network predicted the Denver Broncos specific wins and losses in every game. He went through the entire schedule, predicted the Denver Broncos to go 12-5, and predicted them to win the AFC West, which we love to see. Trying not to get too optimistic. I can be at fault there, and be too positive about things and too optimistic. I mean, I love to hear that. Don't get me wrong. I love to hear that there are national NFL media analysts out there predicting that the Denver Broncos will win the AFC West, but it's still a tough division, and we all know that. The Kansas City Chiefs have been hungry since their failure of a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, since their crazy year last year that had a weird drought, it seemed. The Raiders are really trying to build something new, brought in a whole new coaching staff, really they're way hungry, right? They haven't won a playoff game in like 2 decades or something crazy. And then you have the Chargers and Justin Herbert popping up there. Definitely one of the stronger, younger, newer quarterbacks. His arm is a rocket. So it is definitely going to be a hard division to win. But I appreciate the national media not sleeping on the Denver Broncos. And of course, it's all because of the Russell Wilson hype, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that right now. It's not just hype. And we Mile High Huddle fans know that it's not just hype around the Denver Broncos. This is a legit thing. It could be the it factor for the Broncos, having Russell Wilson and this new offense, new head coach, new coaching staff in there. Definitely could be, but that was a bold prediction. 12-5 and winning the AFC West. Dang. I'm going to pop back into this one in about 7 months or so if that is the case. But what did you guys think about that one? I mean, I know we like to be positive, we like to be optimistic, but I don't know. I like it. I mean, I like it. I think that we have a shot. I think we're going to know more, obviously, when the first few games are under our belt. That's the tough part about the offseason right now and about us evaluating this coaching staff with the team is that we haven't seen them play another opponent. And obviously, we all know that. Now I'm just stating the obvious. But see you guys popping in there. Oh, EJ, Raiders now have a great special teams coordinator. Yeah, sensitive subject. Not necessarily for me. It just, yeah, McMahon. I know. That'll be interesting. I know a lot of people had questions about why McDaniels hired McMahon to be the special teams coordinator. So we will see how that goes for the Raiders. Man, you guys are just rolling on the Raiders right now. I like it. I like to see it. Yeah, and head coach EJ. Exactly. Yeah. That'll be so interesting to see. This is a tangent, but I also just wonder where John Gruden is. What happened to him? I mean, I know what happened to him, but like, where did he go during all of this? Crazy to think that he had, was creating a dynasty and then all that can happen. Really sad. Really sad to see that. Not sad for us, for the Denver Broncos, but sad just in general. But no. So training camp starts July 27th, everybody, ends August 11th. I hope some of you will be able to go to those practices and you guys can let us know what you think. It'll be so much fun to pop on here once the season gets rolling so that we can see what everyone is really thinking of this team. It's going to just be crazy. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks also, just really kind of honing in on the details that we might not follow on this team during training, during mini camp, during training camp, when there's so much going on right in front of us. Us here at Mile High Huddle are going to have to start researching and digging for things to talk about and really just understand what you guys think about all of that and see how we can implement it into our evaluation and analysis. So I'm pretty excited for that. Don't know about you guys. I mean, of course, hope you're all having a good summer. I hope you all have some summer plans and vacations, which are definitely important this time of year because you all know once the end of July comes back, we're rolling with the Denver Broncos and we don't have time for vacation. So hope you all have something planned on the docket there. But Russell Wilson also had a little throwing camp with his kids. You love to see that, right? And something that he talked about is wanting to come to Denver. We all know that he had a short list of places that he would have been willing to be traded to, and Denver was one of them. And I think it's all very relevant with the Colorado Avalanche and the Stanley Cup Finals right now. Go Avs. There's a game tonight, Wednesday night, in case you're on that bandwagon or in case you are just a Denver sports fan like I am. But, and that's exactly what it is, right? Denver is a sports team. Russell Wilson said that. He wanted to go to a city that had passionate fan bases all across the board, right? We all know Denver is a football town. Denver Broncos run that town, right? They are the greatest attraction of Denver. Flying into Denver and seeing Empower Field at Mile High is what we all look forward to. It's a staple. We know the Denver Broncos are definitely the team that have the biggest fan base and the most passionate fan base in Denver. But just to have other sports teams who are successful or who have had such a long history of classic fan base tradition, like the Colorado Rockies. I know they haven't been great just lately. The Denver Nuggets are up there, right? 2-time MVP with the Joker. There's just so much passion when it comes to Denver, Colorado, and sports. And that's what Russell Wilson said. And he said it again at his kids' camp. And, for him to be talking about the city and the community, obviously we know he knows how to connect with the community and he knows what this process takes to create a championship team, but it's no lie. And if you are in Denver, take every opportunity that you can to go and support these teams, to go and support the Denver Broncos when training camp rolls around. I promise you, you will not forget, or you will not regret it. You won't forget it either, but you also won't regret it. It's an incredible city, an incredible fan base across the board, but especially for the Denver Broncos. Gary Leeds Palmer coming in here with a comment. Kim, I am so optimistic. I predicted a 13-4 season for the Denver Broncos. I have no problem if they don't, but if they do, we are in the Super Bowl. Hey, can't argue with that, Gary. You're spot on there. 13-4. It is optimistic, but I like it. And if we get rolling on a good foot here, the first few games, I know there's a lot of people that predict we will go 3-0 the first 3 games. And I agree with you. I mean, if we get it rolling, we get that chemistry going, we have that momentum. I mean, it definitely is optimistic. We'd have to pull up the specific schedule. I feel like there's going to be definitely some tricky games. It's not like they're going to, be able to keep that rolling throughout the whole season. I'm sure we'll have some bumps and bruises along the way, but 13-4 would definitely get us to the Super Bowl, win the AFC West, and be pretty exciting. So I'm with you there. I do think Adam Rank predicted, in week 14 that we would beat the Chiefs for the first time since 2015, I believe it is. And that is something that I am looking forward to. That is something I am also predicting. I am putting all of my good juju into that so that the Denver Broncos do take home the W when they play the Chiefs in week 14. I think that's something that would definitely create some fantastic momentum for them going into the last few games of the season, which are going to be really tough for the Denver Broncos. I think it was 3 out of the 4 teams in the last 4 games went to the playoffs last year. So definitely going to be some challenges there, but no challenge that the Denver Broncos can't handle, Gary. And I appreciate your optimism. I think I was going with a 10-7 record when I first started evaluating their schedule. Maybe I'd bump it up to 11-6. I don't know, just because I don't want to get too crazy, but I want to have fun with it. But yeah, no, 13-4. I love your optimism. Let's keep that optimism rolling, just putting all the good vibes into the universe, manifesting that optimism. Really love to hear it. Love to see it. Jamie, if Denver goes 13-4 or 14-3, 14-3, whoa, gosh, that's very optimistic, but I like it. I like to see that also. If Denver goes 13-4 or 14-3, they'll be pretty close to unstoppable. Correct. I completely agree with you there. Very close to unstoppable. Probably literally unstoppable, because that is a pretty crazy record when it comes to the NFL. We know how these things go. We know it's a very long season for these guys, especially with that extra game starting last year. We've heard a lot of players talk about how that really is just, it might be one game to us and we love it because it's another game that we get to watch. But for the players, it really does make this season a hell of a lot longer. And it's something that they have to take into consideration in the middle of the season. We all know what happens in the middle of the season when it comes to bumps and bruises or not being on the same page or whatever it may be. So again, we're going back to field day and why being on the same page and building that chemistry is important, because when the physicality is, getting a little beat up, we definitely have to make sure the mentality is strong and that the chemistry is strong. So agree with you there. Optimistic, but I like it. We are all optimistic here. I'm pretty sure we're going to be optimistic through the next 5 weeks before training camp starts, because we have to be and we want to be. And we've seen these guys off the field. We've seen them speak to the media in their press conferences after practices during mini camp, how optimistic they all seem. We've heard Nathaniel Hackett and obviously his energy and his optimism, and we know exactly what he thinks of this team and how excited he is about everything. Steve Atwater also, told him that, or I should say asked him about the defense and how there's been so much hype and, media attention to the Denver Broncos offense because of Russell Wilson and what the offense is going to do. And Steve Atwater didn't claim that there's any defensive players that feel this way, but he said, what would you say to defensive players or the defense as a whole if they started to say like, hey, I don't feel like we're getting the credit. I don't feel like we're getting that. And Nathaniel Hackett was quick to answer. And he said, you know what? That's not this group of guys. There might be some guys that feel that way. He doesn't know about it, but that's not this group of guys. He said that they are a firm believer in what they're doing on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be a force to reckon with, the defense, when it comes to that. And they might just be getting, laying a little bit low on the media attention right now on the Denver Broncos defense. But I do think it's going to be a unit that really surprises some people when it comes to the media. That's my opinion. But he said similar words. So he was really excited about the defense as well. And it's always awesome to hear, Coach Hackett pump up that defense and support them also. Talk about support, the DWI guys, Ethan coming in here. Thank you so much. One player on every NFL team who could disappoint in 2022. Who is Denver's? The article said Gregory, but that was a low-hanging fruit. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say that, right? I think you probably have to look at a lot of the low-hanging fruit on the roster right now, just because you don't want to I mean, you could put it out there. You could put it out there. It could be motivation for these guys if they ever see it, but you don't want to you don't want to lowball a lot of these guys because we haven't seen them play against other teams. We've only seen a couple of real practices with the entire unit out on the field. But I do like that. One player on every NFL team who could disappoint in 2022, Ethan. Who is Denver's? Oh, man. One player who could disappoint. We've given Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy a hard time. They have great Jerry Jeudy specifically has some fantastic practices. He does some fantastic things, but then he's not maybe quite producing out on the field. So I feel like he's probably I really like Jerry Jeudy. I know that I've said that before. He could be someone, but I don't even think so. I take that back. Actually, I retract that immediately because I do think he's matured, and I think that he's had a lot of things that have happened off the field that are creating a more matured, a better player for him. He's had some challenges, and I think he knows that he's probably on the block there with a lot of eyes on him, and he's got to be careful. But one player on every NFL team who could disappoint in 2022. God, it's so hard to say. And I think it's just because I've been rolling on this optimism train for so long, but I don't even want to pick someone. I've got so many like running through my head right now, and I don't even want to come up with one of them. I guess you could go with Melvin Gordon and just the way that he didn't necessarily want to be with the Broncos right away, but now he's okay with it. Now Russell Wilson's here and the offense is here. It could be interesting to see how that chemistry goes. Melvin Gordon didn't come to the voluntary OTAs, and we've only seen a glimpse of him, so we don't really know how he's meshing quite yet fully. I mean, we've made assumptions, obviously, with the offense there, but he could be someone that I guess could disappoint just because I feel like a lot of these guys could let things get to their head, and that's kind of where disappointment might come from at a team standpoint. I think it's really hard on a team sport like football to let your emotions not get the best of you when you might not be playing so well right off of the bat or in any game. We've seen that with, any sport, I guess, right? If you let your emotions get the best of you right off of the bat and you can't pick it up. I think everyone can agree with me that the best NFL games are the comebacks in the fourth quarter that we see. And to me, it's always so astonishing and admirable to see those happen because I can also see the mentality start to dwindle, and I've seen emotions get the best of these players from up close, and it's so hard to turn that around, especially knowing how much passion football players have and how much brutality and physicality goes out there on the field. So to see comebacks like that, which probably come from having a really good leader and having a really good bond with your teammates and understanding of that you guys can do this, don't quit, follow through. So I think that's going to be really important. And I think, I won't say his name, but I think that was an issue with our previous quarterback is that he didn't have the leadership skills to help his team get that way. So I think Russell Wilson will help players maybe like Melvin Gordon or Jerry Jeudy who might let that happen. And I think that he will be really, really key in bringing them back and making sure that they don't let their emotions and their thoughts get the best of them, because I think that's the hardest part in the fourth quarter of being a football player if you're down. But having those comeback games creates amazing things and amazing momentum for a team and an organization as a whole. So really hoping that we see a lot of that. Dave Glassman coming in here. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate the support over on Facebook. Colby, hello. Welcome in. Good morning. Hope you are all having a fantastic morning. Wednesday morning here. Oh my gosh, I love that you guys are going through all of these on the side here. I can't believe this has already been half an hour. I feel like I haven't even talked about anything that I wanted to talk about, but I love it. That's great news for going forward for the next few weeks here when we don't have a lot of physical Denver Broncos updates to talk about. So appreciate it. Hello to everyone popping in here. Hello to everyone watching the replay. Always appreciate your guys' support and loyalty here at Mile High Huddle. Make sure that you are liking and subscribing everything that you see on YouTube. The Mile High Huddle page on YouTube has fantastic daily content. You guys, I've never seen a NFL fan base / NFL outlet have so much daily content that we do here at Mile High Huddle. So it's phenomenal. I know you guys are on the Mile High Huddle train, but please make sure all of your friends and family are as well. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Would appreciate it. There it is right there. Subscribe, like, share. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Easy. Helps us, helps you guys, helps get the word out about Mile High Huddle, and really helps support us and allow us to keep going and keep doing what we love to do. And trust me, you guys, Wednesday morning, I look forward to this every single week. I think about it all week when I'm listening to Denver Broncos things, podcasts, movies, videos, whatever it may be. When I'm reading all of the articles on Mile High Huddle, I just think about what we can talk about here on Wednesday morning. And it's something that really gets my juices flowing. So I appreciate it. And I love having you guys here. I love my Denver Broncos and I love my fans. Gary, I do see you, not my fans, Denver Broncos fans. You know what I'm talking about. Gary, I see you saying that you're concerned about Judy. I fear an attitude problem, but hoping Hackett can turn him around. Yes, I think that's something that we've seen the last couple of years. And obviously with the challenges he's faced a couple, in the offseason this year, a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, whatever it was, time flies. I can't even comprehend it. But Gary, I do agree with you on that attitude problem. However, watching him get up there at the podium during his press conference last week, I think he knows. I think he knows where he stands right now. I think he knows that he's had way too many warnings. And I think he knows that if he wants to be a part of this team and gain the respect of Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett and everybody else on this new coaching staff and all of the buzz and everything around Denver that is there right now, if he wants to gain the respect of all of those outlets, he has to step up his game and he has to produce on the field. So I would be shocked if we see any more issues with Judy in the meantime before training camp starts or during training camp. But I think you're right. Only time will tell once we get out on the field and get the regular season going, because we're going to need to see some product out of him. Or else he's definitely, I think, going to be on that chopping block, just because there's guys out there that are really hungry that might overtake his attitude problem if that pursues and continues there. So interesting to see. Agree with you there, Gary, but I do see a little sparkle of maturity, I think, coming out of Jerry Jeudy, and I think he just knows that this is it. So we shall see. You guys, I'm going to wrap this one up here. Love having you all on the channel. Love having you guys interact with one another, interact with me. I'm hoping I've got one more next week. Then I do go on vacation for a week, but I will be here next Wednesday. And I'm hoping after that, next week, I think I'll just try to brainstorm a little bit more about what I can do with this podcast following next week. But I would love to bring some of you on to get your takes and to give me maybe some hot takes that you guys have on the Denver Broncos, and I can react to those and we can interact and talk about them. I think that would be so much fun. Would love having some of you guys on. So please let me know in the comments on whatever digital channel you are watching this on, if that would be something you would be interested in and something you would partake in, because I think a little bit of interaction during the off season with some Mile High Huddle fans and Denver Broncos fans would be really important and would open up some really fantastic conversations. So I would love that. If you would love that, please let me know. Please put it in the comments. You can reach out to me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Kimberly J. Becker. And again, make sure you are liking, subscribing, and sharing our YouTube channel and all of our podcasts over at Mile High Huddle on YouTube. And then you can go over to our Facebook page at Mile High Huddle. Make sure that you're liking all of that stuff as well, following, sharing with your family and friends. And then as I always, at milehighhuddle.com. There are daily articles, daily videos, daily pods coming out. So really great stuff here. It's going to continue through the next 5 weeks before training camp. And then you guys know we'll just get rolling in training camp and the train will not stop. Just like hopefully the Denver Broncos will not stop. Love having you guys here this morning. Again, have a fantastic Wednesday if you're listening live. Have a fantastic day if you're listening to the replay. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We will see you next Wednesday, Broncos country. Appreciate you all.